Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to EU League. It is our final matchup of the night. Heroic versus Team Vitality. And oh boy, I want to see Heroic performing today like they did against BDS. So how about we start a conversation with them? Jess, what's the DL on Heroic?
Well, let's start from the top down. They're in relegations no matter what, really, at this point. But they're not in...
Especially with Rogues win, yeah.
Yeah, after Rogues win, it's almost statistically impossible for them to make it out. But what I will say is that they could get out of auto relegation still because they were in a nice tight little fight with Team Secret. So that's the kind of silver lining of the storyline for Heroic at the moment is they've made changes and... Of course, let's go a little bit micro here. They've made a big change coming into today. They did it last Playday. You might have seen Thunder back into the starting roster. That's okay. He's the brand new rookie for the team. We expected this. But we did not expect that Shukri would become a mainstay player for the roster as Dirtza, due to his own personal circumstances, has been removed from the roster and Shukri is now full-time in place in his position. And after what they did in last Playday, bringing it so close, I will say that the changes are not too shabby, so we'll see if that keeps up. But shout out to Dirtza, who has shown us some brilliant things on the roster.
I'm going Heroic today. I'm just going to put it out there. We'll see it at the end once we kind of recap everything. But fresh on the Vitality side, they still got a pretty good W last play.
They still got a pretty good W, and we talked about time. We've talked about time and again. We've talked about time. I feel sick about mentioning time.
You actually forgot your watch today.
I forgot my watch again.
You can have mine.
Second time in the row, I've forgotten my watch.
All yours.
Tap
the watch.
There we go.
No, tap it as if like
okay.
this man really doesn't know what a watch is.
I'm tapping the watch. Vitality, they turned up. Let's just forget about that.
This man's trying to sweep it on the rug.
I thought you
own it. Didn't we talk about it just before?
Vitality, they turned up last week, or on Monday, should we say?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was a very dominant display. They knew exactly what Virtus.pro were going to do, and it was the display that we've been waiting for, and I feel like we've been waiting for it forever. What I want them to do now is I want them to build on it, because they've got the quality, and I sound like a broken record saying this, because they should be up there in the upper echelon of this league.
I agree.
They should be in the top 3-4 teams. They've got that quality, and, you know, I think of Rise, I think of P4. They've got a really good support player in Cactus. They've got a really solid kind of composed team. They shouldn't make the mistakes they tend to.
It's just odd, isn't it?
If they can build on the last Playday, there's no reason why they can't make a run, especially with G2 losing. There's that kind of fourth spot for the major, for me, is up for grabs.
Though,
it really is.
It seems like Heroic has something when they play against French teams.
I don't know if it's the BDS curse or French team as a whole, and I think that they're just each other's kryptonite. I don't think anyone will disagree with me. I don't think this is a hot take. Outside of like maybe the UK, and it used to be Germany, but not so much anymore, the strongest national region by far that is going to push you to the edge in a nationals is the French league.
Has been since day one.
It is an awful system to try and have a bad game in, because you will get crushed by some really strong players, some really strong teams in Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. So I know that they've been bred in the fire, and that's why they are where they are right now. But I'm also sort of leaning towards the fact that this was my hardest game to predict of the entire day. And I think we are all split on that, and rightfully so.
Yeah, completely understandable. And like I said, both of these teams, again, for those that... have not lived in the French, like Francophone, so the French-speaking world, don't really know the dynamic of it. France, Belgium, Luxembourg, and sometimes Netherlands would kind of apply in this. They've always gone to so many LAN events back in the day. And the before times in France, there was a LAN like every other week where people would go to in Rainbow Six or in other games even before that. And people have built up that mindset in their heads. A lot of players, including Alphama that we talked about so often in APAC North, and before then EUL, and before then NAL, that got their fame and their spots through their performance at events like this. Now you don't have it, but Vitality should have the upper hand in this.
They should, but I will preface that with saying Heroic played last week with a lot of freedom, with like they had nothing to lose. If they still turn up and play that same brand, they can upset anyone on any day.
Because they don't have much to lose.
They don't have much to lose. And we saw how close they ran BDS. If that was any team last week but BDS, they probably win.
Let's see which map we're going to be playing on then. That is my question for this.
This might be the kicker. I'm not sure.
And we're going to go to Chalet.
Didn't you predict this?
I had Club or Chalet, so
There you go.
There you go.
My predictions are now which map rather than who's going to win, because I can't predict who's going to win. EU is just that close.
I completely understand that. Heroic will be starting off on the attacking side with defense going to Vitality on Chalet. They got to pick their starting side. So, Jess, your thoughts on that?
Both of these teams, did they both lose to Secret? They did. They both lost to Secret last stage on this map, and they both lost 7-4. Like, it is a mirror image. They've both lost to the same team on this. So they clearly have a VOD. They clearly understand what each other's going to do, but they both lost on it recently in their last Tier 1 play of this map. So it's up for grabs, eh?
Yeah, I mean, I've got Vitality having a higher preference and a slightly higher win rate. I think Heroic, their kind of round win rate is sitting around 30% on this map, which is low. So I'm kind of edging towards Vitality, but honestly, the way Heroic have been playing, I'm not.
Coin flip,
Honestly.
and that's who wins. And I will let you guys know what the coin flipped at the end of the game.
Honestly, I want to see what this match actually gives us. I have a lot of hopes pinned on Heroic after their performance, and Vitality have to give us a good show. We expect that from them. They expect it of themselves. Fresh Jess, thank you very much. Let's then toss it to our casters. We're going to go to the French Alps for a big French matchup, and it's Hap and M to take us through it. Enjoy.
Bonjour.
Yes, I say bonjour. Yeah. Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
Yeah.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
We're being corrected.
We're being corrected by prediction there. So we just
Bonsoir. Welcome. Just imagine I'm saying this in French. Welcome to Chalet. Bienvenue à Chalet.
Bienvenue. Bienvenue à Chalet. Au Chalet.
Or Au Chalet depends. Chalet is the map. A Chalet.
À Chalet.
Or Au Chalet is specifically the A
À
location.
Chalet.
We're being corrected on so many
Chalet.
terms right now. We've absolutely no clue. The analysts are back on as well. You might hear them.
Non-bank.
We're not turning insane. Totally not. We're not bank. No, that's
Non-bank. Oui,
C'est pas
Chalet.
bank. C'est Chalet.
Oh god.
The chalet.
No, we're not turning insane. Let's get into the match.
You really didn't eat, did you?
Oh, we did not eat. No,
So
not at all.
there's been a problem.
A problem?
With Hap and I.
You know what my name means in Dutch,
What
actually?
does it mean in Dutch?
A bite. And I've had nothing of it.
Does it actually?
Okay,
did
so
your
no,
parents
no,
name
but-
you Bite?
Like my last name is Happers, and if you get the first three letters, it's a hop, and if you make
Yeah.
a small one, it's a hapje, which means taking a bite out of
Okay.
something. But you know,
Yeah, everybody else has eaten. There was a disaster.
there was a disaster. Our
with-
order got stolen, everybody.
The unnamed. I'm not gonna name any names. The unnamed
No, we're not saying anything.
delivery service from an unnamed food provider.
Oh.
Someone stole only mine and Hap's food.
Yes, and the others all had their food. And after that, we called support. And first of all, they started talking in French to me. So I said,
Yeah.
please, I don't speak French. Please go in English. And he's like, yes, but we have a different driver. But what happened was the driver went to go to the restaurant. And he was coming in. And he's like, all right. The order gets stolen, so I'm going to cancel my ride. So you're going to get a different driver who can take care of it. It's
Yeah.
like,
So
okay.
he was just like, something's happened and I can't be bothered with it. I've got an eat.
Yeah. So
Good
we got a
luck.
new driver who had absolutely no clue what was happening, waiting there 20 minutes as well before support came.
Yeah.
And then support said, please wait 2 minutes.
And
And then 2 minutes later, they said, please wait
Another
2 minutes. And it turned out to be 10 minutes in the end.
it was 10 minutes of waiting.
And then they said, you will not be charged, but they charged me anyway. So in the end, I paid my money. We got a whole experience out of it.
Yeah.
I think there's
So it's quite late here.
It's quite late
what
here.
What we've done is the pair of us have just eaten a lot of chocolate from the
Yeah.
catering
That's literally what happened.
cart.
And Milo said, do you want a hug? But I said, no, I do not need a hug.
I want an unbranded sandwich.
I just want an unbranded sandwich. It sounded a lot more fun if you can get the
If
branded.
you can get the
but we can't.
branding in, yeah, but we're
At least I'm getting a massage now.
They don't deserve a shout out. They don't deserve a shout out for our food going missing. Okay, enough about our horrors and nightmares. Let's get in to French Dreams and Chalet and what it can offer these two teams. Some of the bands there, which I'll get to when their faces disappear. Production. I don't know if they've eaten as well, but they can have an.
Oh, they have eaten because I saw the bag at the same restaurant
Alright.
we ordered from come in earlier.
And they don't get anything.
And Jess and Fresh ordered after it.
Flores, Valkyrie, Thatcher, and Goyo as an extension. Goyo is probably the most particular removal, but you've got to look at how a lot of teams set up here is those shields on those crook and crux angles. The one that's at the top of blue stairs is often played as just a standard shield, but the more you have of those in your pocket, as well as going up against a team where you know them, and you know they might like to play them, it's a solid removal and at certain points.
Definitely so. Let's see how Heroic does. They need this 3-pointer badly if they want to stay in the fight with Secret. Have the opportunity to gain some points here today, so let's see whether or not they do. It's P4 looking to go for a big jump out here. Goes for it, but gets taken down. Shukri, very accurate there. Gets that first kill. P4 punished for it. It's going to be a very important start here for the side of Heroic, who need these points desperately. Again, I'm going to be mentioning it. So, drones coming out. We have the 0. Extra information can be gained. Flank cams can be set up easily. Just a bunch of mozzie pests that will be stopping the drone work from truly taking shape. And as we are coming through, they are going to be trying to put a push on here. Just taking the control first, maybe putting up some pressure into Piano before opening up the box.
Now, as Thunder's going to try and find a way around just against that Aruna Gate. Rise is the one that wants to try and apply the pressure back onto them. Obviously, with P4 taking a risk, well, it might not have paid off, but there's a star. Cactus buries their way across. I think that was towards the second story stairs. Just swung and took advantage of the danger that he could put together. Shukri's gone. That is a bit of a blow. Obviously, they wanted to get above, but not the biggest, because you still have Blaz on that soft destruction roll. You're still working from the top to the bottom. Sledge can do all the work that that Buck could have done. At this point, it's more just losing Shukri, who, to be fair, since joining up with this roster, has been very big. It's allowed Heroic to find a little bit more swing, a little bit more pep in their step. His first game, he was their best player. In the second, well, he was still pretty good.
Breach has been opened up. The drones are coming in, trying to figure out if someone is actually on the site. Doesn't seem to be the case, so potential plant right behind the half wall is quite possible. Cactus, however, still from below, has the opportunity to try and challenge just a small bit as grenades are being tossed over. Okay, actually, I've just got the whole wrong size. Where you get when you're hungry. Unfortunate here, but I do need to work on some vertical control in that case now, so as Blaz is trying to dig himself in deep, he might be able to catch 1 or 2 off guard while some of the Vitality players start rotating down.
That's it. They're trying to clear a top across that little box area. They want to plant behind the dining room table. The next step is going to push Cactus to a more uncomfortable situation, which is going to start here. Getting the mute jammers was a massive big play, but Thunder, well, maybe they didn't quite get them all, or maybe they just want to open the bullet hole angle, but either way, burning themselves a very small corner.
Just enough to walk through. That's all they really need to try and get a plant on. Maybe try and guide it with some smokes, maybe?
The thermite got impacted.
Yeah.
The X got dropped. There's another player that
all
suffered an
apart.
impact and spread all across the door on the dining side. Slipped past, not very far though. Dropped over the top of the table. Thunder is at least able to bring some balance back in, but not for very long. Yeah, impacted. That thermite. I did see the explosion on the top and I was like, was that a grenade? And again, we haven't eaten.
Oh, please.
We can only use that as so many excuses.
We can indeed use that. But, you know, the chocolate will kick in soon, don't worry. We will get there. Either way, 0-1, Vitality is in the lead. Round 2 will soon get underway. Bar Gaming is being hovered over right now by Vitality. And as just looking at the operators here, we have the ALF for the Grismots. Always a wonder whether or not the FO12 will be used, or if they go for a completely different kind of setup. Run around with the Scorpion, for example. Could be the question. Either way, no Frost. That's a change. It's an operator we do often see on top of this site.
Yeah.
Mainly for the shield, but P4 does, of course, carry one, so does Cactus. So there is plenty of other options to still have those shields available to you. And with that, then use the other gadgets as well.
There it is, the shield I was talking about before and the extensions that they like to do across the top here. You're allowed to sort of hold that position for a fair bit of time. And what you actually sometimes see from confident teams is even if that shield gets dropped and they start to try and pressure across the top, to just try and meet them with pressure, to just try and push back up blue, and to see if they can lead into doing any damage back against them. It becomes such a hot point for this site, and it starts with a bit of library control, seeing if you can force them out across bedroom if you want to, which is where this extension's coming through. And with the play at the castles, that's the game that they want to try and bait. Waste as much time around the bedroom side as possible.
It's the name of the game, just try and waste time, whereas Heroic is maybe thinking about potentially just going a bit quicker. Window being opened up, the Prismas will be giving away some of the information, whilst Thunder, opening up the castle barricade right here, gets swung on by the Ela. Using the Scorpion, not the FO-12, but it's not going to be able to get any shots into target. And right now, 2 minutes 20 left on the clock. It's plenty of time to start working on clearing that top floor. It's just going to be a bit more difficult. Blast is ready on that top window. Shukri, however, gets the first one. Cactus drops, and so P4 rotates down. Still being up here on the balcony, is looking to engage on one of these operators.
Now with Rice sort of holding themselves in, it's worth always talking about how Vitality lost the entrance last time, but Cactus was a big part of being able to keep their lock in dining room together, bought them enough time, played against them with aggression, and here, well, it's Rice that's the first to bring some balance back in. Thunder with a quick drop takes advantage and control of the top, puts the pressure onto Bibu, who, as I said, you can still sort of put pressure back against this hold. The Warriors right now, Heroic, they've been able to cross a bit of the angle off. They're putting the pressure here towards that shield from either side. Thunder desperately wants him to try and peek his way back round, but he's not actually thinking of doing that as of yet. Holding the crux of the top of the staircase instead, with more attention being paid above as the drones steady their way down.
And that drone is going to be a bit of a spot now in the ranked games as Thunder just comes in and sweeps up Shinka. Means it's going to be only a 2-4 situation here. Vitality on the back foot, but they might still be able to come back from it. Not if Thunder swings right now, though, and picks up the kill. There you go. Spots at the player, gets the kill eventually, and that is going to be making it into a 1v3.
Well, Thunder is able to absolutely stand and carve their way through this defense. One more for the road puts him in a very sturdy position already. Heroic, with a much better response than it could have otherwise been. They're able to build behind that entrance, and I think a lot of it was, although they suffered that kill, they then went aggressive. They went with it. They went alongside it. The rush in on Library saying, well, we've got to put pressure back on, because the more time you give Vitality, the more problems they're able to cook up with it. And that's it. That's a responsive pace that, to be fair, in this showdown, I expect to get faster and faster as time goes on.
All right. One apiece. We're heading into the master bedroom in the office. Next bomb site to come up. That was the bomb site I thought we were starting on, but that didn't turn out to be.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attack.
See how Vitality does here. We did see a different kind of take on this one lately. We did see a Solarium push to come through. Quite successful as well. Or at least, you know, managed to get quite a bit of kills, get inside, go for the plant in the end. And it is quite a dangerous one, considering you have to go for the repel it. Now, we also saw easy ways to counter any ways to hold it. That was, any player would be playing on those Solarium stairs. You could just buck down from below, open up a bit of a hole down at the bottom of those stairs. So any player would be stuck inside of them at that case, and you just throw a grenade in, maybe even two, just to confirm the job. That would be enough to clear out any of those players. And after that, you just have to deal with the bathroom and the actual site. So some things to keep in mind might not be implemented in this round, but definitely will be in the future. As Heroic starting their approach. Will be from the Library side. 3 men strong so far. Let's see if they're going to be able to gain any viable, you know, good information they can use to try and get a good early frag with.
Now you saw one drone go in on the other side, and that's why Thunder bounced his back and picked it up, as he'd already pressed the animation to roll out. He was like, oh no, wait, we've got one, keep it. And that one is steadily burying its way closer and closer towards the potential push onto the side itself. The swing around is dangerous. Here, though, the Maverick is free to start trying to open some of these holes, put some damage through, deal some destruction, and see if they can get rid of the electro.
Oh, got through.
Got through, didn't get zapped, but it didn't last very long.
Didn't last long indeed, no, but they are aware that someone is playing around the half wall, and that could go into the grenade that's about to be tossed in here. Flashbangs going in as well, magnets being tossed out yet again to try and cancel out the extra projectiles that are to fly in. So far, Heroic are trying to get a hold onto the main wall, but failing to do so successfully. Might have actually taken care of the electrification. No, they have not. So more grenades will be tossed in. Still have 2 left on blast. Those will have to be used. But first, of course, the flashbangs to try and waste any of the other utility that could be in there. Should have been a magnet. Next one about to be tossed in. Should be getting... Yep, there you have it. Can open up now. So Voy opening up onto the bridge. But we still have these players below. It could be quite impactful.
That's it. That's the danger. If you haven't quite got the clarity there, you'll go towards that default, and that Kaid with that C4 becomes a much bigger problem. There is also still impacts that could potentially pop off as well, so you've got to be aware. And I think that's the main thing right now, is you're thinking, all right, Heroic, are you going to try and strong-arm your way through into this location and then see if you can potentially drive to where the chassis is, which is a more common, well, we're not going to plant box, so they'll try and throw that C4 in the wrong place, or... how is this going to start to play off? The first things first, though, if you can't get rid of P4, it's all just time that's otherwise nullified because he's in a position to keep causing these trouble. There's the biggest bit of trouble. Drop the man with the diffuser and retake the mantle of Box. Step up to the window and get hyper-aggressive and get dropped as well. The pre-fire didn't quite come through. P4 gets stopped by Chaoxis, picks up the diffuser and tries to find their way in with the kit, but the canister says no entrance. Toxin on a close corner, gonna see if they can stick it, and so far there's no explosion to try and say otherwise. Shinka, though, explodes, drops Voy, and the hop out gets one more, leaves just Chaoxis. The man who's pulled their only kill this round gets a second. Can he try and capitalize behind a planted diffuser? No. This is the answer. Caught reloading, and Vitality catch their second round.
Managed to pick that one up. The post plant quite quickly there, realized one was still on the highway on the side, or the little balcony, of course, near the bathroom. Jumped out, managed to get that kill, turns it into a 1v4 situation, and that is when you can start swinging, start peeking, try and use every bit of information you have to make sure you turn that into a 0v4 as quickly as possible, allowing yourselves to go for that defuse, and thus exactly what Vitality did. Now, next site will be the kitchen. Yeah, once more. We've seen it before. It was won by Vitality. The only site so far that was lost was the bar. Let's see how to do this time around. Of course, it relies heavily on making sure you have that top floor under control for as long as you possibly can. As it really stops out the clearances of the pieces of utility, the electric claws, and all that kind of stuff. So, as they are setting up slowly, Cactus is just preparing his evil eyes to get into the right place, and you know, we see a bit of Solarium Hole to come into place as well, with the Syria laser gates to be deployed. And Vitality, they just set up their roamers as well. P4 looking to go aggressive yet once more. We know how effective he can be. It hasn't quite shown to the max yet in that first round. I don't think he's going to be going for an exact repeat of what he did there, but he might still try and bring some aggression elsewhere.
I like seeing a lot of the Zero play, currently in the hands of Chaoxis. It's something where, in my mind, it's a bit synonymous with NA as a region. They embraced Zero quite quickly. They utilized all of his cams, and I also equate Chalet to being a good NA map. So sort of seeing those two plays hand in hand, it paints an idea of, for me, watching other regions, learning how they play, and how well he can operate on this map in particular. It's something where there's these long extensions above a lot of these hard electrified walls. There's a lot of corners and places where you generally need as many eyes as possible because there's little routes all over the shop with a core center. Well, they had eyes on that. Shukri is the first off the board. The buck is gone yet again. That's twice they've been a bit of an early blow, but both times they've still had the sledge as a backup.
Yeah, that's the redundancy that you need to make sure you have the extra opportunities. If you lose one, never mind, you just lost that one as well. So 3 on 5 now, that's not going to be helping at all. As the sledge there got taken out. Thunder, Voy, and Chaos is the only 3 that are left currently. They have a blowtorch, which you can, you know, do quite a bit of work with, but it is maybe not going to be enough. Just getting rid of the electric claw there, allowing Voy to go for a breach onto the half wall, but that only gets you so far. You still need to drop down towards that first floor. There's little to no opportunities left to try and go for some vertical play. So they have to use whatever is being given to them by the defenders and try and force their way through. Try and get these kills to work in their favor. As flank cams are being set up currently. That one could watch into the piano. Being set up as well, trying to bait the jump out of, that is the Iruni playing close to the actual closet there, near the bathroom. A bit of damage, actually. Cactus died. Foy picks up the first. It is still doable, but they need to put like a couple more kills.
Still doable. I think the Void was through the floor as well. They went via the holes. They were trying to isolate the fights that they could take on top as well, because it is a site that's separated into two halves. Technically, they are pushing a 3 versus 3. The perfect timing is one of those things that comes along every now and again. And here for Heroic, they're choosing and driving their own luck. Shinka up top gets one more, tries to push aggressively and isolate the fight and takes it. No! Doesn't quite get the connection that he wants. The spray with the pistol doesn't come through. Void just had some more bullets in his gun. And now, as they look towards that kill, it's P4.
Oh, no,
Takes the head off, looks too high, and Chaoxis goes low, and Heroic go level.
A huge round there for Heroic. They lost both their soft breachers. Really had to do with, well, just basically forcing themselves through. And, well, Vitality gave them the 1v1s and a 5v3, and Heroic managed to win more of them. 2-2. Equalized. And Kitchen Dining is up next. Vitality here, looking to find that victory, put themselves up on 3. Make sure that they at least have that one going for them. Keep in mind, round 2, they lost this one. No, they didn't lose this one. They just went back here. I'm just completely off the world right now. Off the charts.
Off charts.
This match is on the charts.
This match is on the charts, and it's currently 2-2, is what we've charted so far. It's been a bit of a back and forth, and I think it's fair to say it was referenced that Heroic's last Playday was, in effect, their best, because they had an all-the-way game against BDS, which, against a lot of other teams, it would have been theirs. They played fantastically. It was just they're up against, unfortunately for them, fantastic opponents. Here, Vitality, again, they're a very, very strong team. They're a very, very good team. They proved that last split. They've grown so much over this course of time, but they haven't had the best couple of games. They've been a little bit rocky, and Heroic have a great opportunity here to actually try and take some points, to really put some pressure down, especially with teams like Rogue having very successful days.
Yeah, so they were just more preying on the fact that they might be able to get that 9th place here, Heroic, away from Secret. That's what they need to try and fight for. The gap, only 5 points, I believe. It is doable, especially considering the loss that was there today, meaning that a full-on win could be granting them 3 points, bringing the difference back to 2, and suddenly you're in a fight for survival again, after such a horrible year these players have had. So, Vitality on the defense yet once more on that bottom floor. Let's see if this time around they are able to find the advantage again, but this time hold it, of course, because it was a 5-on-3. You got the puck, you got the sledge. It seemed all set up well for them, but just the plays from Vitality a bit too strong. Heroic a bit too strong and able to turn it around. Turn it into that 1v1, and P4 thinking he would have been dropping from the Solarium side. Had no clue he was coming down the stairs, actually, and as a result, lost that one.
Pressure now coming steadily across the top here as they're trying to bait out another firefight over the top. Same approach. This time they get 2 more bodies to try and make it happen with, and that gives them a little bit more pace and panache. Rise is looking for potentially the first engagement here. He's just holding the piano a little bit more aggressive than the holds that they had before, but then bounces back. It was a couple of players getting caught out at inopportune times, and here they're going to try and make sure that they keep a handle on that, on where Heroic are and the pace that they can apply. P4, he's had a bit of a mixed game so far, but even with a very early death on a jump out in the first round, has still been able to put a huge selection of bodies down in the ground. He's going to make sure that that can continue as he waits with bated breath deep for the Roam potential to potentially come up on the back of Fireplace Stairs. Rise, however, opens the fight, and the Fury taking care of Void through the big opening breach.
Diffuser has been recovered. Not the entry they wanted, but at least it's not the 5-on-3 situation they were in before, so if they could have won it before, they can definitely do it now. So you're going to have your 2 soft breachers available. That means it can work on some of these angles the Vitality players are currently at. Blast still worried about, however, about a potential jump out or run out from the side of the garage. He wants to check on it. Don't think anybody's actually there. There is a player, however, on the stairs. Now, we've seen it before. I believe it was BDS that portrayed it. Chaoxis gets another kill. Rise drops. That's going to be the start of a potential comeback here. Splaz now goes from below. Might actually be able to sneak up on them in West Main.
That's it. It's been such a long play here. P4, he's just waiting with bated breath. But as you said, 10 seconds. Whatever they do, they've got to try and make it connect now. And the Mad Dash does not do what it's supposed to do here. Vitality clean it up across the board with the positionings all in place. And this time they didn't take the fight so early. They were able to keep themselves a bit stretched away from Heroic, who struggled with the slower pace, struggled with, I guess, in a strange way, it's like when a football team plays better when they've had a man sent off.
It happens sometimes. It does, yeah, I get it. It is always strange when that happens, you know? It's like, in that case, you might have actually been the problem, you know? As people would always say.
It's because you play harder.
Do you really play harder, though? Like, as
Yeah.
in like, okay,
If
harder
you're at
as in like
deficit-
you're trying more, or like you're being
You try more.
more physical?
You try more, your heart rate goes up. You're, you know that you
Elevate.
have to, you know, if your team's weak, you gotta give 110%, you know? And as EPP proves, you can go above 100%.
We don't use percentages for EPP.
Oh,
Yeah.
there was a whole argument, debate
There was a
about
whole
that.
argument about it, whether or not it should be.
I didn't get involved, I can't count, so I'll let everybody else fight about it. But I'm still going to make
Wise
jokes.
decision.
I'm still going to make jokes to make everybody remember that they were arguing and argue again.
About EPPs.
EPP.
Yeah,
EPP size.
that's what we were.
Vitality versus Heroic, 3-2. Chalet Heroic, though, as they've proven it's been back and forth this whole game, a 3-3 split is not out of the question. The question is, can they finally take a round up here on the top floor, a place where they haven't quite been able to have the success that they did in the other two sites that we've seen so far? So, it's going to start with an approach underneath. The Buck is going to try and cause some problems and see if they can open up some of these angles, these softs, potentially towards the bottom of Solarium's stairs to catch anybody in a rotate, if they put the pressure on anybody on the backside, or see if they can just dig out these loose players like the one in Trophy.
Shinka, no clue that he's being spotted out by a drone here, though. It's quite, you know, clearly in his vision, but not too worried about it. Blaz is checking. He's thinking about going for it. Drone just got shot, though, so that is going to be his opportunity gone. He's not going to be jumping into that window now, at least you'd hope.
Well, I think the main thing is here as well, is I'm not quite sure if he's got how many ADSs, if any, but we have seen players in that exact position get punished by a good grenade. It's not the hardest one in the world to try and connect here, or at least just to connect to a level where they're forced into a more uncomfortable situation.
Yeah.
But Heroic isn't going to go with that option and that rotation or alternative. Instead, they're going to see if they can steady themselves around underneath first. Blaz and Shukri doing a bit of droning, keeping an eye on their flanks. However, slow pace is sometimes the worry for this team, and it did punish them in the previous round.
Could be a grenade coming down into B4 here. One got tossed in, but I believe it's the ADS that picked it up as B4 gets the first one. That lands next to him. Thunder picks him up. And that's going to be bringing it back into a 4-on-4. The advantage, well, you would say, still with Vitality. The time is in their favor. They're on an equal man count. All they need to do is just shut them down as Kioxis is the next one to drop. But Blaz again with a bit of a response.
Instantly knocks it back round there as they try and find just some counters and responses to all of the pressure that's coming their way. Blaz, in a bit of a desperate, scratchy firefight, catches Shinka on their own before, and is kind of hoping that he comes up on the opposite side on the opposite stairs. But as they pass the minute marker, they've got to see if they can actually try and funnel some of this energy and destruction towards the site itself. They swing in on Solarium with Voy steadily closer to the wall. The mirror window gives the game away that we know where you are, but we know that you know where we are, so we're just going to shoot it back. Blaz over the bathroom, suffers with a bit of a scrap there on the piano door as he's just trying to steadily take as much ground as possible. If they can clear this swing round and try and apply some flat pressure here, they'll be able to plant just by the small box, but Rise says no. Thunder's dropped on the opposite side. Voy needs to try and find a way through the door, but with Blaz hitting the floor, it's becoming less and less likely. 25 seconds. And although they've been against the boards and the pressure before, and Rise and Shinka are a breath apiece away from death, it's actually trying to connect those dots and find Cactus in the meantime. That's the danger. The hop over does find the first. The second, however, is just around the corner. And Vitality get themselves the 4-2 split.
Very quick play we saw there, trying to go for those kills. Managed to pick up the first, unfortunately not second. But that does leave Vitality right now into a 2-on-4 situation, where they are in the lead. 2 rounds, that is, and now going over to the attack themselves. It's going to be up to Heroic now to show how well their defenses work on this map, how well they've thought these through. His Vitality is going to be putting them to the test. We see the Finca instantly being picked up. The Twitch is being shown as well. 6-pick, of course, still on the board. We see some changes, so the Echo disappears and becomes a Frost, but Shinka still hasn't locked in, so might still be thinking about it. Needs to be quicked up. No, lock-in is there. So this will be the 10 operators. These will be the 10 operators we go with. And those Frost mats, well, they might actually catch some people off guard because they're thinking about the Echo now. Not about the Frost mats, but as soon as it gets droned or the sound gets heard by any of these drones below right now, you should be well aware of the operator's presence.
Now, Heroic, obviously, they have had a bit of a growth on Chalet, as a lot of teams have. They're very early instances of it in comp play. Best forgotten about, I think it was Na'Vi that 7-0'd or 7-1'd them at the start of stage 2.
It was definitely 7-0 we had.
I think it was against them. But either way, for what they suffered, and they primarily suffered on their defenses, they have gotten stronger. They've gotten more adaptable with their holds. They've been able to be less. I think one of the problems that they had in their early days of Chalet was they were a little bit flat. They were a little bit static, which isn't a problem that you can really accuse Heroic of being recently. They've been very active, very mobile, and very frustrating for teams to go up against on a map because they're more than happy to retake ground and territory that they've lost, which they've also demonstrated in more recent playings.
Oh no, that's a kill to no! That's what you get when you go for the Frost Mat before he gets two! They needed to shoot the Frost Mat, they didn't get the kill as a result, and Heroic just completely sweeps the floor with every single member of Vitality. Tried to go for a push, it did not work out, and now it's up to Shinka with the F2 to try and salvage whatever is left in his next 2 minutes and 20 seconds, but I'm afraid we'll get to see this to become a little bit of a timeout. Where we're just going to see the 2 minutes run out, and Shinka just going from angle to angle, not finding any of the Heroic players.
Yeah, when we're like, we're going to have a quick game earlier on our attacks, Vitality tried to go same. And then Void probably went, ah! And then went, none.
I got two.
Yeah, it was a bit of a shocking moment, I think, for them as well, but they're a team that does try these sort of plays, and these are risk and reward plays. They're risk and reward plays that they've punished themselves before as well. It was the last Playday against Virtus Pro, where I believe the entire game opened with a Virtus Pro rush round, and Vitality stopped it then and there. And here we see a similar story. Here we see them trying it, didn't quite connect. They have the round buffer and advantage, and Shinka has all the time in the world to try and start playing around with Twitch drones. They're having a team talk during this. They're having a conversation. They're going to sort of talk about what they can do and how they can approach it next. It's a risk and reward. Did not pay off this time, gamblers.
1v5, a minute on the clock. How many of these kills can he get? Let's try and play a bit of T-Hone now, you could almost say. Try and get these shots, try and get these pre-fires. There's not much to lose here. There's only to gain. He seems to be quite hesitant about it still. Knows there's multiple angles that could be watched here. In the corner there, won't be able to get it. One on the shield, it's just so dug in. Looks that they know exactly where he is, and he's going to try and do his best. But Vitality, or I mean Heroic, is not really giving way. They're not giving anything away to Shinka here. Not a single kill will be gained for free. He's even going to lose some of HP. Swings in, but Shukri gets the kill. So flawless round. And Heroic, well, they close the gap just a little bit. We're up to 3-4 now. Let's see if they can continue that, even if Vitality would not be to push as quickly as they just did.
It's a good bit of energy for Heroic. It's a good bit of momentum for them to sort of have underneath their wings as they try and carry themselves now to level pegging, to equal footing, once again to a place where they can really start to try and put the pressure back onto Vitality and make them feel a little bit more heat in this icy map. Baron Gaming is where we're going to head to next, the site where they had their first success on their attack. At least they have the Frosty operator that you talked about being a bit of a play and a big bit of utility and possibility here, because it buys you a bit more time. It puts a little bit more stress, especially on the kind of control of the three very important windows. The one that we see on the site, and then the two in the library above, which is the site. It is the hold, and it is where they want to shove that diffuser. Voy, he's got his back to them, swings around.
Yeah.
Never panicked.
I think it was a giant panic, but staying calm under panic, you know. He managed to pick up great 2 kills there. of course, a bit of guidance or help from the Frostmat, because this is what we're always saying. Like, you either need to jump, like, if you jump in, you cannot take the gunfight and kill the Frostmat. It's either or. No, it's not either or, it's or. You go either this one, it's either or. Never mind, honestly.
You're like an Excel sheet or a Google sheet that's gone out
I'm
of
trying to set
hand.
up a formula here.
It's just come up with the big all caps error and exclamation mark.
Our formula unknown.
Error formula unknown. I think Tim's had nightmares about that.
I think he definitely had some nightmares about some not working formula. See, this is also
That's another way
of deal with it.
of getting rid of a
Just explode
Frostmat. It's a big sort of use of utility, but if you want to try and prep yourself for some danger and some damage and some quick pace play, well, that's something to sort of put a flag in that. Or if you just want to bait that idea, if you want to say, listen, they've just grenaded the Frostmats here, I feel like we're going to suffer something here soon, it could potentially pull a more skittish and scared team out of position, or a team that is behind, that is trying to find its way back into a game.
He sees the gun. He sees the gun. Oh, he didn't see the gun. I thought he was seeing the gun, but apparently he didn't. Nade's being tossed out after, though, so Voy actually got shot from the window and had to stand up, and Cactus is in. That's going to be a plant, so they're definitely going to try and go quick here. Vitality. The cover is already there, however. Thunder is not allowed to go in deep, because otherwise he can stop this plant from happening. Gets a little bit of damage. It's going to be P4 that runs out wide. Gets a couple of kills. Shukri is the last one remaining in a 1v4 situation. 38 seconds would make that 31, because you still need to go for that defuse. To try and retake it now. Spots a player down into the pantry. Cannot even enter into the bar right now. He's being droned out. So much information is upon him right here. Manages to get the first, though. B4 drops. 20 seconds left on the clock. He really needs to get a move on.
Well, with all the pace and ferocity of a Parisian driver, they've been able to find themselves into the site and the building twice, with very different results here. And this one locked off by Bibu, upside down, repelling and holding the angle as the pings come around on the corner. Vitality keep themselves with a little bit of a buffer, and hey, that's it. The frag grenade onto the Frost gives an idea of what they want to do, and they made sure that they did it this time. They completed a little bit beforehand, though. They got rid of that Frost, and they importantly took above. They got themselves in a situation where if they went for a multifaceted push, there's a much higher chance that you're going to lose one of your bodies, one of your precious cogs in a machine you wish to turn to plant a diffuser.
See, I like what they did, because you're throwing that grenade and you let them know, okay, we took care of this Frost map. That means you need to watch it now at all times. And then they just slowed it down a little bit. They went into the library, there was no one there. They could throw in a grenade into the pantry, which forced Voy to stand up into the rotation hole or vision hole that was made. And the window player managed to get the kill there. And at that moment, it's just completely open, because you already have the library control. You already have someone that just watched pantry. He can drop down below as well to try and cover. So you could just go for a free plant in that case. That's exactly what happened there. Vitality able to push themselves up to 3-5. Now attacking onto the kitchen and the dining. And now you're just wondering, how can they get this one done quickly? Because that's definitely seemed to be their plan. Try and overwhelm Heroic onto their defenses. See if you can take them. So we're most likely not going to be seeing, if it's going to be a quick one, let's just put that out there, a push from the south to the north. Those walls are probably not going to be touched in that case. It takes too much time to get those opened up. What we could see is just a full garage push maybe, then rush up the main, west main and just go in from there. You know, that's an opportunity if you want to go quick on this side.
Well, they definitely want to keep some of this pace. P4, bringing the Finker, is able to start opening those windows towards the potential of a west main entrance here as they look behind the bookcase and the spray over the top. Solarium is that sunny dance of peppering bullets towards a bathroom to see if any of them stick. There is a bit of a hold and a bit of a backline, but for all the times that we saw Heroic try to put the pressure onto the box side, this time they've opted for something else instead, in terms of demonstrating just how we can see a team try and manipulate and take control of this. Rise is looking to potentially open up the angle at the bottom of the stairs, but it's the grenade around the top, I believe, that has potentially just dropped a kill. Yep, it was there. And, well, that's their bit of an opener. Now, can they build it to a bit more of a closer?
So we have a player quite close to West Main. I believe that is going to be Rise. Looking to push up onto the west main side. Oh, actually went outside again. He was just shortly inside the big garage, but decided to drop out. P4 still droning, though. Could be jumping into the window at any second. There's definitely a lot of pressure still on there for a potential quick push to come through. Frostmat's still around, so they'll have to drone them out, find and try and localize them, take care of them before they go for the push, because we saw what happened before. But there definitely seems to be a bit of urgency on the setup that Vitality is trying to pull off.
Well, Blaz is going on a bit of an adventure, a bit of an explore, seeing if he can find some of an angle to work with here. I think a Twitch drone zapped Thunder and got a bit of a shout, which is why his health is slightly suffered, using a canister to buy himself some more time, regardless of the pressure that might come towards Trophy Window. But with Cactus also smoked out as well, Thunder is really just buying as much time as possible. West Main has entered and P4 has entered too. Void was pinched from two different sides, and that allows Rise to enter behind the dining table, and they can see if they can try and secure this diffuser. Cactus slipped his way through, and now it's just the two players left above on the verticality. Punching through and trying to find some of the kills before they go down. There's the first, but at this point you expect that diffuser to go down, so how do you see if you can go for a bigger retake and rotate?
That's 40 seconds. You need 7 to go for that defuse. A bit of a spray to come through, but just over the player there. Blaz gets picked up. It's only up to Shukri now in a 1v4. 29 seconds, and there comes the floor bang. Bibu picks up the final kill. Actually, no, upside down repel from the window in Solarium all the way through. Spotted the lag before. Gets the final kill, and this whole game of Vitality is just the pace. They get the first opening kills. They try and figure out where the site is, and everybody runs in afterwards. And you know, this is a good time for Heroic. After 3 of those rounds, 2 being successful for Vitality. All right. Boys, it's not really going to plan. We set up this giant extension into the top floor, and Vitality, they just don't care. They're like, they do whatever they want. What do we do against that? That's kind of the puzzle and the struggle they're up against.
I think that's it. It's an entire pace difference. As you said, it is a control of the pace, which is such an important thing. And to be fair, Vitality have for a long time, in terms of being a team name, in terms of some of these players, having history with the synonymous nature of controlling the pace of a game, is controlling the dynamics, the approach, and both on the attack and the defense. And it's easier to control the pace on your attack generally. You'll set up things to manage the pace on your defense.
Yeah. I just want to quickly say, look at how focused Shukri was throughout the entire time out, just talking. And he literally just came into the lineup as well. And he's already being a bit of a leader here. You can see, see, he's just continuously talking. So I'm not sure if he's answering the coach or if he's guiding the rest of the players to, you know, elevate their morale a little bit in this current event that they're in. It's good to see him talk this much.
It's sort of what you wanted. It's what you wanted. We said it when Voy came in to the roster at that point as well, is, you know, he's a very experienced player. A player that's been around the scene and the French scene, especially for a very long period of time. Shukri as well. He's come from a team with experience. Death Row. He's sort of bringing a bit of the balance back. And, you know, the Thunder is obviously the newest addition to the roster. Blaz and Chaoxis both had huge performances in CL and huge performances as sort of, but they're still younger players. They're still younger in the scene in comparison to some of the older voices and some of the more historied and players that have the skill and the sort of caliber of being within that IGL bracket. So if it was something that they were lacking before, they felt they were, it's good to see Shukri being a voice that's helping formulate that more, and no more so than when you're 3 rounds away from pulling yourself to OT.
Yeah, 3 rounds for OT, and to pick up a very important point. As we said, Secret left all points behind today. That means that if they get a win now, that would be 2 points, just closing the gap down to 3, which is really going to be something they should be able to work with. However, if Vitality close out this game here, suddenly it's starting to look a little bit less fun. Oh, Voy almost losing his head right there by a bit of a default pre-fire, still opening up some of these angles, as he was, of course, doing before as well. Back then, he managed to get 2 kills when the pressure was really on to the bathroom, but this time around, he escapes with his life.
P4 getting the camera and everything else inside a 2-meter radius by spraying as many bullets that LMG through that close window as possible. Curious and concerned about the possibility of a run out, but Cactus was locked off here before, and it's down to Heroic to take those risks to see if they can try and formulate that into something that turns into an early advantage here. Something that, to be fair, they haven't actually had for a while. They were quite good at getting that first body on their attacks. They were good at biting into Vitality, but here on their defenses, they've sort of been a little bit more coy. They've been a little bit more curious about waiting, I think, and it's good to see Chaos, I guess, stepping up against this potential Solarium fight.
I feel this might be also a moment where Vitality have decided they will slow down. The ADS has just been activated. They are well aware. There's a player in that corner. He spots the gun. You see that? Just on the right side of his screen. He's trying to not move the drone around too much because that would make a bit of noise. Gets a ping in. That could potentially lead into a grenade from below. You see Bibu already in position from below, just quickly scanning it with the Gemini replicator, and now jumps down. That should be the kill. No, it's going the other way. B4, however, responds. Rice picks up a kill, and that brings it still into favor of Vitality. A 4-on-3 situation here as B4 is being challenged vertically, but Cactus picks up the kill to Kioxis. It's only Foy and Thunder left to keep their hopes and dreams alive for this game, but otherwise it's going to be Vitality to pick up the full 3 points.
Yeah, they've just been so steady and making sure that this game goes into their hands and into their handle. And here, with a minute left to try and formulate an attack with a 4 versus 2, it is setting up the scenes for Vitality to steal themselves some much-needed full fat points and pull up the board to 6. A grenade just goes over the top of Thunder. Doesn't quite fully connect there, but still enough damage to make even a slight firefight that goes a little bit scrappy become a bit of a panic with the gun set that he's got.
That's it, right? The SMG-11 still a very difficult gun to work with, and right here you see the anchor points being taken care of, so the full wall will be destroyed. You would dare to say? No, actually not. It's going to be a wall in 2 pieces. Cactus will be repelling in and destroying the last part now, but they're going to go for the quick plants. There it is, 45 seconds soon on the clock, unless that smoke canister manages to chip away from the HP, which indeed it does, but Cactus lives and goes for the plants yet once more. No more utility left. They need to go for the peaks, but there is the window cover. It's going to be the 1 kill to come in. Foy tries his best, but he fails to do so. 40 seconds on the clock, and he's going to try and go for the 1v4 retake. We've seen this so many times before. Heroic has been in this situation every single round, but this time it's probably not going to be different. He needs to pick up a kill, and he needs to pick it up fast. As the timer slowly ticks down, it is going to be Vitality to pick up the 3 points. You see, Bibu is happy, the rest of the team is also happy, and it will be them, indeed, with that victory.
He's having a good time, and so it's probably a lot of Vitality right now. More points twice within the Super Week window, and it's a bit of a needed confidence boost. Unfortunately, it's the other side of the story for Heroic, who had a good start on their attacks, but just could not fully connect with their defenses here. Again, Vitality, their attacks were clinical, put together and smooth, and unfortunately for the other French team, punishing.
Yeah, the pace Vitality managed to put up here was definitely the deciding factor. And, you know, back in the day, we would always use to say Vitality while they executed in the last 20 seconds. Of course, a very different iteration than what we had today. But today, they seem to be executing in something like the first 20 seconds. But either way, we are going to be tossing it over to a very small commercial break. And after that, we will be back with the Analyst Desk.